Good evening, everyone, and welcome to LiveAt5. I'm Samir, your host for today, and LiveAt5 is back twice a week as a new proposition, as the second series of Not in My Kitchen. Today, I'm talking to guests on what they have not cooked in their kitchen but have ordered out or got delivered or tried new places where they haven't cooked in their kitchen. With me today is Kalyan Karmakar, a renowned food blogger over the globe and all across India. I'm waiting for him to join on Instagram. Hi, Ramin. Good to see you. Hi, Delnaz. And I've had him on to Facebook too. Kalyan, you need to come back on to StreamYard. So if you can just add yourself on, that'll be fantastic. Okay, I think by putting him there, just wait. Welcome to this edition of Not in My Kitchen, LiveAt5, and people are joining in. I hope your guys are doing well. Tough times for everyone, and it is not an easy time for people. People are still joining in on Insta, okay, and on StreamYard too, Facebook. Okay, Kalyan's here. Hi, Kalyan. How are you doing? Thank you for being with us. Yeah. I actually removed you instead of minimizing you. So can you add yourself back? The link, yeah. So basically, on to Facebook and he's joining in. Kalyan, you got a very nice haircut, I see. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Right. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Bigger.
Inflated.
Okay.
Inflated.
Yeah, inflated more like it. But I've added you to the stream.
I will later do this from you.
Can you hear me clearly?
This from you.
Yeah. No, am I audible clearly?
Oh, you're audible. Should I switch off the volume in the laptop because I can hear the.
Yeah, in one thing, just switch off the volume, whichever.
So that there is no echo.
Yeah.
So that there, yeah, I can hear it. Yes.
Okay, lovely. And so welcome, Kalyan, formally, and good to have you. I've been seeing your lovely posts that you've been doing. Many of them. So it's fantastic. So during this lockdown, Kalyan, a lot of us have been, of course, cooking, and I know you cook a lot, and I've been cooking usually in the first 2 months, and then I somehow didn't continue it, and I do it once in a way now. And so thankfully, we got cooking with us at home. But initial 2-3 months we didn't, so we all were in the kitchen. It's so busy. But I still do cook once in a but we've also been ordering food from out, and that's what I want to talk about. Basically, food which is not cooked in your kitchen, and and what have you tried? Whether it's from a home chef, whether it is from a restaurant, whether it's from a bakery. What have we loved? What have we not? What have we dislike? We don't need to take names of places, but generally the kind of food. So let's start with you,
Uh,
Kalyan. What have you been up to?
Well, in a way, like our story is a bit like yours also. That the first few months was complete, like the Prime Minister said, Atmanirbhar,
Yeah,
Atmanirbhar. So, cooking, cleaning, everything, because, we were without house help.
yeah,
So, in a way, it made us feel younger because it took us back to the days when we had just got married about 18, 19 years back, when we didn't have a cook and we had a maid come once a week and all of that. And at that time, we couldn't afford going out to restaurants, so we cooked a lot. And then with time, that cooking had reduced. I mean, I had become the executive chef at home. So I would tell our cook,
wow,
ye dalo, ye kato, ye karo, and then so it was getting back to cooking, and I was really enjoying that. And then my
yeah,
wife, would stopped cooking once we had our own cook. She got into cooking, and unlike me, she would get all these recipes from Bhavi Bride's website and many other websites, and then could cook dishes which you've never had before. So that was
yeah,
really wonderful. But I think at the end of it, it was sort of getting to us because day in and day out, and it's okay when you're cooking for a hobby or out of
yeah,
fancy.
yeah,
But when you're in a
yeah,
situation which it was in the beginning of the lockdown, where if you don't cook, then there's no food, right?
yeah, that's
Because there's nothing you
right.
can order in. There's no one who can come
Yeah,
and cook. We had friends who were living alone and who never cooked, young folks and also this tough time. So for us, the first ordering in sort of happened when some of the local restaurants near us opened,
yeah,
and one of them was Khane Khas. So
okay.
Khane Khas is this
That's in Bandra,
Punjabi.
no?
Yes, yes, yes.
I
I live in
maybe
Bandra.
or
Uh,
no?
it's the 16th road. So yeah, you go down
16th.
KC and Kroma and it's over
Okay,
there.
okay.
It's near Mini Punjab. So
Yeah,
I'm in Kolkata for 20 years. I've been in Mumbai, and since the 18, 19 years we've been married, it's been like our home kitchen. So when Khane Khan opened, there was a lot of trust, and we started ordering from there. And we make things fresh. So we'd order biryani. We were not too comfortable about ordering non-veg, and then we keep a bit of make that stretch.
yeah,
Then Sifa opened, so we would order from Sifa. So these are places whom we trust. We know the people who run them. We know their kitchens. We know their intricate photography. So only in rare cases when we are very tired or we couldn't cook, then we would reach out to places like this and we place our order. And it was all about the
yeah,
sense of security and familiarity.
yeah,
And for a while that mix continued. Then the five-star hotels are opened up. So actually, through a few hotels like Hyatt, then Peerless in Kolkata, I actually ordered food for my mother, for my grandmother who were by themselves. And that was one way of, and I knew that it would be assured because they're elderly folks and all of that. So the first 2, 3 months, there was a lot of fear. Then
yeah,
some of the five-star hotels we also this thing, and we tried food from ITC, tried in BKC, very nice stuff. But of course, five-star food is not everyday food. So then what happened was that some of the home chefs, and you and I have been like working in this field for
yeah,
a long time. Like I think FBI has done at least 2, if not 3 rounds of home chef
yeah,
matters,
yeah,
and you guys are the pioneers in terms of pushing the home chef industry. And but as you know, at that time the home chef industry was slightly constrained because they were also competing with restaurants, hotels, famous chefs, cloud kitchens. Location was an issue, and all of that. But suddenly, with all of us being locked down, and with delivery apps coming in and stuff like that, the home chef food became suddenly very accessible. So without once having to go to parts of which was a fair bit to travel, and maybe on a Sunday afternoon, which is how it used to be earlier. Suddenly, we could have all of this delivered at home, and then
yeah,
we started trying out. home chef food. Like there was the Hyderabadi biryani that Bimba Naik did. Then there was the Kashmiri food by Jasleen Marwa. Then just down the lane there was Kalyan Karmakar, and she was doing Malwani food. And then I wanted to order pomfret because my wife is very fond of seafood, and for a long time we had no access to seafood, buying seafood. So I bought
Yeah.
from her. We ordered. Then Hungry Cat Kitchen opened, and they had some Parsi stuff. So I started ordering cutlets and kebabs again for my wife. And then Ananya Banerjee, who just sent some dal puri and aloo dum. So the moment this gets over, I'm going to open it and try. So then it almost became like a veritable regional Indian food festival. So then there was another called Doctor Snack, three ladies based in Deonar. So they were doing home cooked North Indian Punjabi food, which is laborious to make. So they said, we are doing chane ka dal, sorry, chole, we are doing dal makhni, we are doing rajma. And I said, okay, usme kya hai? But when it came home, it was so nice, and it was some of the nicest rajma chawal I've had, chane ka dal I've had, and things like that. Then there was Marina Balakrishnan's and the Kerala vegetarian food,
Yeah.
and then now Pirates Kerala non-vegetarian food. So to be honest, like we've been like really dipping on. Then there is Anuradha Joshi's Malwa food from
Roshi.
Charoli.
Yeah.
So all these things are earlier there
Yeah.
in
I've tried that.
pop-ups,
Very nice.
home pop-ups, this, that, whatever. But frankly, when it's life as usual, we could never like, convince ourselves to get up our parts and go up there. But suddenly he was
Yeah.
coming home, and there were some restaurants and all that also. But what would happen is that you once, and like I've written on my blog, that this is when food came into the forefront. Because it could be coming from a very famous chef, a top five-star hotel, the most famous restaurant, corner, dhaba, or a home chef whom you know or might not know. But it's all going to come home in a dumper, biodegradable or plastic. But you're going to take it out, you're going to put it on your plate, which I call the plates of finely chopped. You're going to switch on your own AC
Yeah.
or fan, and the
Yeah.
electricity bill is going to shoot up your own divan, your own TV program. So it's finally food to food. And it's so I've not ordered that much, I must say, from the restaurant. So yesterday, for example, I wanted something indulgent, so I called for a chart from social. I've been doing a lot of bakery right from the beginning because we needed bread. So
Yeah.
we're doing a lot of ordering a lot of bread from Mumbai and Baker's Dozen in particular village.
So La Pooling was delivering from the beginning.
So what they did was that their Bandra outlet had shut down before the lockdown because they were opening a new one, and then the lockdown happened. So what happened was that Santana would take the breads at night, and Parthish, her husband, every morning would get it to Bandra, and they were stocking it at Casey Roaster, Food Hall, and Provenance. So there. And then Baker's Dozen and the village shop. So the bakery stuff we were ordering, and then candies open. So like even this morning I had a bad bag, so I called for chicken sandwiches from there. Then once we went to visit my mother-in-law, so we took her favorite fish curry and that potato cheese balls and all. Oh, I was sort of Carilicious kitchen by Farida
Yeah.
and her daughter
But
Karishma.
yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant stuff, and it was
Yeah. I
really
got. Yeah.
Parsi food because there was the cheese and chicken bake which you get in the clubs, and then there was a lamb chop which had that Vindaloo flavor. Then the sort of cutlets which my wife was tripping on. So it's been fabulous food actually. And then at one point I said, okay, now we've got to stop because there's too much outside food. And see, even if it's home cooked food, it's mutton, pork, fish, and we've also been trying to eat a bit more healthy. We've been enjoying home food.
Yeah.
That's tough. So that's and also so like we ordered from Madhuk's kitchen. Many people have told me nice things about her. So this Sunday I ordered the mutton cutlets and the chicken curry rice. It was absolutely fabulous. She's Masali. So which means her Parsi food is far more spicy and richer than you get in the restaurants or caterers and stuff like that. We've had that in Surat. So we just tripped on that. And then we kept a bit of the gravy aside. And then we did last night we added a bit of water to the gravy, a bit of salt to balance it, anda dal diya, and then there was Parsi egg curry rice yesterday as well. So it's
Yeah. But I've seen you doing a lot of things like that, which is very, very interesting actually.
Yeah, so I'm not missing going
You
out
take
at all.
leftovers from the food you order and then you create something else.
Yeah, listen to this. So Ananda Banki had sent schnitzel in a German thing. Now we
Yeah,
had the original pork schnitzel in Vienna and the veal schnitzel in Zurich, right? And then Ananda, where did she get veal and all that? Yeah. So she made it with chicken. And I must say that the flavors were spot on. And she gave us a script and heated in the air fryer. And it was perfect. Like took us straight back to Vienna and Zurich, different meals. There were two
yeah,
schnitzel, so we kept it for the next day, one, to have as breakfast. And then I called for sourdough from La Foy. The sourdough is a bit thick, so you can't make a closed sandwich. So I
yeah,
said, okay, we open sandwich. Now, when I heated the schnitzel, suddenly something clicked in my mind, and I started slicing it without thinking much. And then I put it on the
yeah,
sourdough, and I remembered, these are the katsu sandwiches which you get in Japan. So katsu means like
yeah,
breadcrumb fry, and they slice it like that and make
yes.
sandwiches. So I made that, and then I wanted some mustard. So I opened the fridge, and there was Bengali kashmiri in there, which is made by a Chinese company in Tangra, Calcutta, which I bought from Pali Market. So I made that,
Okay.
and then look at the influences. So like the German, Viennese schnitzel made by a Bengali in Mumbai with good Maharashtrian chicken. And then I put in sourdough bread, cut it Japanese style, put in Bengali kashundi and fabulous breakfast. The sort of wonderful food we've been having at home as well as thanks to the home chefs. I don't think we've had that quality of food
Yeah, I,
in restaurants in the last 2 years. And you and I eat out a fair amount. We've not
yeah.
eaten out together since the lockdown, and I miss that. So.
No, it's a long. Yeah, but as I was saying, when you look at home chef page on Facebook, they are passionate about what they do. They are very innovative and they have the liberty to innovate. So it's not like a restaurant menu, but they innovate. They use quality ingredients because otherwise their personal name gets. And they're very mindful as how they cook and what they eat. And very often, it is value for money. So I think all these things actually make it a fantastic experience.
Yeah, the only thing one should keep in mind about value for money is that objectively the food is not cheap. Like there have been times when we've ordered
It's
some,
not. It's not.
when
Yeah.
we've ordered stuff. Let me give you an example. We ordered some stuff where I thought that if I had ordered a meal for two from maybe Khane Khas, not
Yeah.
Southwater Cafe, then the home shift was actually more expensive. But then when I started eating it and I could see the quality of the ingredients which went in, the fact that I would not get it this way. So that is where I think we need to do a bit of mindset shift. That
Yeah.
home chef is not equal to expensive. In fact, see the home chefs don't have the volume advantage which restaurants have.
They don't.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
for it to be viable for them, fabulous food. Huh?
Yeah.
It's been some fabulous.
No, I totally agree. So in fact, we ordered some crabs from Rami. Rami is in the Napa. What fabulous crabs! It was outstanding. So one was a Goan style crab, and one was in Hara chutney, very kind of crab. Oh my, outstanding. Also recently, Shabnam Mukaddam
Sure. Yes.
sent us Buna chicken with pav.
Yes.
Man, one of the best we've had.
Okay, now I must tell you on Shabna. I know this
Yeah.
Ramni, you and I had gone to her house a few years back, no, in Bandra,
Yes. Yes.
Punjabi meal, where
We
the
got
meal time got arranged.
locked up in the balcony, our husband and me.
You and I were locked down in the balcony. Breaking news.
Yeah.
It was Republic TV mein aayega. Sameer and Kalyan Karmakar locked down in the balcony in Bandra alone on a Sunday afternoon. What were they doing?
Okay, back to Shabnam.
No, but I would say that Shabnam I met again in your FBI home chef matter meet.
Yeah.
It turned out that
Yeah.
she's a neighbor. She lives just a day down. I've had this
Yeah.
Bhuna Pav before. She said it was fabulous. And I think Shabnam's another example. Sorry, I forgot to take her name. But very recently, she sent us Halim during Muharram.
Yeah.
And before that, she had sent Nihari and she sent these kebabs, pakke keema ke kebab, or katte keema ke kebab, and the khamiri rotis. And my God, it was such fabulous food. I mean, the nihari, the kebabs was one of the best meals we had, and that mouthfeel which is there, and the khichda, and the quality of meat. It's again not inexpensive food, but brilliant quality and the spicing.
Yeah.
So and you make it stretch. So I had the khichda the previous night. Then the next morning I had it for breakfast. Then one evening separately for this thing. Then I kept two pound of mutton out and made a roll with it. So see, all this you can't do in a restaurant. Right? So whatever
No,
the extra, then you either pack or this that. But at home you're making everything you. And this also happened because in the beginning few months, everything came down to us. There was no house, there was no, it was not easy to get produced. Every meal you would have to cook. So we would make everything really stretched. So I think the lockdown also taught us the value of frugality, the way our moms and everyone would do. I think we've become a bit extravagant. I think it's centered us
yeah,
again.
we have. Okay, on Instagram, Manu said, home cooked food costs more than restaurant, but because home chefs never take shortcuts while cooking. Also, so Manu, their orders are not bulk, and therefore they cannot even
Yeah.
From vendors also not order bulk, which actually then increases costs. That is another
Can,
reason.
can I draw a parallel?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I draw a parallel, like I do food walks, and you've been very supportive of the food walks.
Yeah.
Come in then when I was starting off. So in the beginning, I used to do food walks once a month, and now I do very customized food walks when someone gets in touch and they have a particular requirement. I have gone abroad to food walks where it's done by companies where they do 3-4 food walks a day, and they're done by different people, one person. So the sort of pricing which they can do, it's something which I will not be able to do, because for me for it to be worthwhile, I mean, with the effort which I'm putting in and the experience I'm putting in, and it's going to be a one-off affair. I will charge that premium, and there will be people who see value in that. There will be people who don't see value in that. Like example, there will be a biryani by Shabnam, there will be a biryani by ITC Maratha, there will be a biryani by Lucky, and there will be a biryani by the guys who are now selling it on the streets. I don't know if they're back again. So each of them would have a very different pricing, and I think it finally really comes down to the customer whether they see value in that, or they might, something could be a special occasion thing, something could be an everyday thing. Yeah. So
and there are different kinds of consumers also. So I'm sure in the universe, one will always find consumers and customers who are interested in the other things. So there's no
yes.
as long as they're providing value, I think it works well. When we're talking about food costs, Kalyan, street food. Now, street food vendors have hit due to the pandemic. I actually was thinking about this, and I was noticing how beaches like Chowpatty and Joe Beach, where they were just actually the BMC, and they have got together, they've organized themselves, they made a proper demarcated area, the structures are solid, and they are maintained. But one point of time, they were just street vendors. So do you think how gullies will turn like that? What do you think will happen to our how gullies?
I think that's a very, very good example. I'm guessing you're talking about the Juhu thing which has already happened. I've been in Bombay for I've been in Bombay for 20 years. So I've always seen it like that. So you've probably seen it the earlier thing. But that's a very good thing. The fact of the matter is that how much I love street food. I am adventurous when it comes to street food. But the fact of the matter is that hygiene levels in our country, and it varies from part to part. Maybe in the south it's a bit different, but it's largely a bit appalling. And also in a very unorganized sector, there was tax paid, licensing, extortion, this and all of that was happening. I have been to famous street food places in Old Delhi, for example, where I took my food and I was about to eat, and I saw rats running around, and no one was bothered about it. I didn't write about it only because I thought that I don't want to go after a street food guy saying there were rats, but I don't want to recommend it. The point I'm making is that if you see Singapore, if you see Thailand, if you see Malaysia, they they put their money behind the street food years back, and they created these hawker centers, and with very stringent quality control and hygiene control,
Yes.
to the extent that in places like Thailand and Singapore, especially the Chinese people over there, they don't eat at home, so they have all their meals in the street food area because that's how their culture is, and but then that became such a big thing for tourism for all these countries as well, and no foreigner ever wonders what the hygiene is going to be when they have food in Singapore, Thailand, and all. So I think we need to move towards that. But I think we also need people who really believe in it and doing it, because sometimes when government does something, you know that there are a lot of loopholes and things like that which are there. So you need someone who's really committed to trying it. Otherwise, it's very easy to pass law, FSC, this, that, whatever, and just create chaos and more options for whatever.
Yeah, yeah, total chaos. So, Kalyan, when you got food from restaurants, bakeries, tell us few of your favorite things.
Okay, so let's talk about the bakeries first, because we depend on them for two things. One is breads,
Yeah.
and the other is dessert, because when there's so much tension, stress, one needs the nicer things of life. So there will be all the cookies and brownies we order from my wife and the breads. So I think for some fabulous work, by the Lafoli people in terms of consistency, Baker's Dozen, Village Shop. In terms of restaurants, I think the restaurants which we ordered pretty often from. So one was like for those emergency moments when you decided that you need food at a given point, then you're looking for your neighborhood place, and then like I said, we live in Bandra, so there are places we would reach out to, which was Khanekhas and Sifa, and now Candies, and all these three places we get food ordered in. We don't go out. Very recently, there's also Hando Pizza, which has come up. It's pretty nice. We try from there. Occasionally, also from old favorites like Social, Hot Water Cafe, Smokehouse Deli. So places which we know, which we can bank upon. Now my wife's getting, Keras is getting a shop of coffee from Starbucks on and off.
Okay.
But
and open since a while now.
It's been open for about a couple of years or something. Right?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Sorry, a couple of months.
And during the pandemic, it hasn't it shut for a while, and then it was one of the first.
I think the Bella opened before then. In our neighborhood, Bella opened before Starbucks. Yeah.
Okay.
I will tell you one more place which we ordered from, but the only thing was that it's not an emergency order. So we two places where we planned a bit and ordered from restaurants, and one is Som for the Gujarati vegetarian food, and the other is O Calcutta. And O Calcutta we to order from Andheri during the lockdown. So when there's occasions like say maybe it's a birthday, or passing New Year, this, that, whatever, then we call from Som. Som is also now under renovation. And once we ordered some food for my mom-in-law who stays in Dhaka. So I think trusted familiar names which we've been going back to these. We've not been experimenting with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think trust is the main thing, and brands and people that you trust will always always stand good ground for a long time. So one of the
one more thing. Sorry, sir, how can I forget LiveAt5 and Pooja Dhingra, who's just opened again at Palladium. So once when they opened back in Bandra, then first day straight away I ordered, because my wife absolutely loves the dark chocolate macarons from there, and we've traveled to France, Prague, Australia. I was absolutely we've ordered it a few more times, and of course it's been a tradition for the last 8 years that on her birthday it has to be this massive dark chocolate macaron which Pooja makes, which she first made 8 years back, and which I then picked up from the whole store at Palladium. And then Bandra's open, so we all pick it up from there. So all of these places have been giving us a lot of joy.
Yeah, and great food. So interestingly, when we talk about, when you when you talk about home chefs and bakers, there are so many new ones come up. Lot of them.
Yes.
Every person says, okay, I'm doing nothing much. I know how to cook. Let's start selling to friends, neighbors, and slowly they say, okay, we'll market it. Without FSSAI, we're not getting there. We're not going
No,
there.
that's true. That's true. So,
Yeah. Second is delivery. So it's actually been, you have done and Zomato, and there's so many other apps we passed, and it's very surprising that now home chefs are. I mean, if you take from Lokanwala, it's no big deal. I mean, probably before the pandemic, you would think, okay, should I order a plan? Now you just order, we fast delivers, and sorted.
yeah.
If food comes to me from Warsaw and wherever, and you don't bat an eyelid thinking about it. So that is changed, I think, drastically.
I sent food to Kharghar. I cooked for Purush and Ria and sent some food to Kharghar.
Yeah.
Oh, Samir, I must add one
Yeah.
more name. You're talking of bakery.
Yeah.
Anurita of Eggs by Anurita. So, yeah, so she's another favorite. She's in Bandra, so often we order from her cakes, cookies, brownies, and stuff like that. And like you said, deliveries made a big difference. So during this period, it was my mom-in-law's birthday and my aunt-in-law's birthday. One stays in Dadar, one stays in Tapkure. So through Anudita, we would book stuff and we fast status weekly. Only thing to keep in mind then, like from Nicole Modi, again, our friend Nicole, she's also started baking and we ordered some lovely sourdough cookies, I think thrice by now from her because they're so good. But she has a cheesecake, for example, which we haven't ordered because you also have to keep in mind that for bakery as well as for food, what travels? Like a cake will travel, a macaron might travel, but a jiggle, what Nigella Lawson says, the cheesecake with the inner thigh jiggle, that will not, go in Bombay. This thing. So similarly in food, curries and all that work better than Asian food or European food and stuff. And we don't need. Yeah. And we are very lucky because we have a neighbor just downstairs, a young girl called Gia, who's I think 18 or something like that. She has just entered college, this thing, and she was bored, so she was baking. And all the stuff she bakes, she sent us up to us. And she is a very fabulous baker. And a lot of people ask me, does she take orders? She doesn't. So I think we just pay her and trying to play with our cats. But so we get sorted with good. And that's the advantage of being in Bangalore. So so much of cakes.
Mr. Mohan, good to see you.
Two stalwarts, that's Samir and Mr. Mohan. Chef Pain.
Yes, Chef Pain, and I'm happy to be on it.
Yes.
So,
you guys are going to
yeah. So no, basically it's an aggregator for home chefs, home bakers across the country, and we are probably launching by the end of the year. So any home bakers and home chefs who want to join, please visit Chef's Pin, or can just DM and I'll send you the link.
You send the pin.
That's
That's okay. That's okay. You send me any verification need or auditing of the food will be the best.
What you're thinking? Garam pani or
Oh, no. I see. For me, everything is hashtag. So it's post-snap Nimbu Pani. So a few years back when I moved into freelance, I stopped having a coffee in the evening because I felt that wouldn't give me sleep. So water's refreshing. So I started having Nimbu Pani. Samir, your wife wants to.
I know. My voice is
Yes, that's suddenly that's because he's seen you watching and he's getting a bit nervous. That's his performance.
I don't know why exactly, but
I think that's performance pressure and seeing that your wife is watching. No, but Sahi is making. wife is in
नहीं,
one
yeah.
room, absolutely another room. So this is a post-nap
No,
new
I'm
part.
wondering. Okay, cool. So, before we spoke about home chefs, home bakers, restaurants, bakeries. Now tell me something, Kalyan. When you look at home kind of outfit, say you order biryani from a home chef or a home chef, and you order biryani from your favorite restaurant, what are the difference that you actually see?
That's a tough question because it's because then it also becomes a function of the specific home chef or the restaurant
Yeah,
you're ordering. So I don't know if I can really generalize, but I must say that if I go by the sheer quality of food which I've got to taste from various home chefs, and most of these are fairly well established people. So I would compare them with well established restaurants. There's only been occasionally where there's been a wrong note in the food, and I feel that all the food, like when you take it out of the plate and have it, I mean, rarely has there been a case where the flavoring has been off balance. Like, be it the namak, sweetness, mixy, sourness, whatever's there in the dish, have always been so on point. I found the quality of everything which is used, whether it's the meat, vegetables, we get often a bit too lost when talking of meats because we are all fond of that. But one of the first home chef meals which I had in the lockdown was utapura from Marina Balakrishnan. And at that time, I had had one or two other, vegetarian sort of home chef dishes, and everyone was doing aloo and paneer at that time. So Marina stuff had a lot of vegetables, like greens and kaddu and drumstick and this, that, and whatever. And later, when I was talking to her on foodocracy for her, very baat karta hu. Foodocracy for her when I talk to women
yeah,
into
yeah,
entrepreneurship, F&B business. Then she was telling me that how she was inspired by watching her grandmom cook when Marina was a kid. And she said that her grandma, when she was cooking, would think of only one thing, that this food should give nutrition to whoever's eating, whether family member, laborer, this, that, not that this task has to be done. So I genuinely feel that without romanticizing it too much, that I've seen that quality which is there. And I must say that in recent years, I've eaten out. I don't think I've eaten out as much as you do, Samir. You know that. I don't go out
yeah.
that much. But I have not come across food, especially in the newer places, and no disrespect to them. But I've not come across food which has grabbed me by attention. In fact, Sneha Senapati, she had done Odia food, doing Kachkucha, and then again street food, and then Nina who collaborates with this one, Ananya, and that fantastic artist. So I'm saying, Samir, without being romantic about it, deciding about it and all that, the quality of food I've had from the home kitchen, I don't think I've had that quality of food in restaurants that consistently. Of course, there have been some fabulous dishes, meals in all sorts of restaurants, from top end to
Yeah,
streets. But
yeah.
this level of consistency, I'm not.
Okay. So it's the quality in the sense.
Yeah, because I think that for the home chef and in this model, right? While a
Yeah,
restaurant has to focus on various things. I mean, staff salaries, ambience, this, that, cutlery, this, that, or PR, alcohol stuff. So it's not that they're not focusing on food, but there are many things. The home chefs don't have anything else to focus on.
yeah. So,
So
Kalyan,
the entire attention comes.
home chefs and restaurants, you have cloud kitchens, which
Yes.
is the going in them where they have an outfit, they have a central kitchen, but
Hmm.
they don't have to focus on hundreds of other things which a restaurant does. So there again, food is focused in between more on the food than the restaurant, probably less than the home chef. Have you tried any food from cloud kitchen
Uh, I'm, I have tried.
recently?
Um,
I mean, in the pandemic
so
lockdown.
there is a couple of ladies, I can't remember the name right now. They've come back from New York and these bowls. And I think they, but even they're not a cloud kitchen because they're now small commercial
They
kitchen.
don't.
which they
Yes, for
work
the home.
from.
Yeah, yeah,
No, they have a
yeah,
small commercial kitchen, like how kitchen
yeah,
does have. But this is where for me I have a bit of a problem because for me uh, unless if I compare it with say what if you consider what our friend Gaurav Gidwani is doing, if
yeah.
that's cloud
That's a
kitchen,
cloud kitchen. Yeah,
or
yeah.
what Chef uh,
Mitesh Rangdas has started the cloud kitchen.
he's not tried, but
Yeah,
Gaurav Gidwani's food was fabulous. He also tried it, the
yeah,
Punjabi, and that is
yeah. I
different.
tried that.
I mean, having home cooked Punjabi food, and Gaurav
Yeah,
Gidwani's was like good hardcore Kake Ka Dhaba, national
yeah,
restaurants, sort of good stuff, but good stuff. Then there's of
yeah.
course Chef Vikramjit Roy. I ordered from him in Gurgaon for my brother. He's moved into Gurgaon.
Finally, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So here's where my conundrum is coming. That there are the home chefs, you might not know, but the individuals cooking their food from home. On the other hand, there are hotels and restaurants from ITC, Bombay Country, Petrol. It's not that one side all their food, or Khane Kha, Sifa, so on, this, that. You know the people, you've had their food before, they have been in the food business for long, they've tried and tasted. Now, they are in an environment which is not in their control, but they're trying to bring all their expertise and get us good food. But the
yeah,
cloud kitchen are faceless people, so I don't know who's doing it and what they're doing inside. So for me, it's a bit of a, you know,
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
for me, it's a bit of a
cloud
blind spot.
kitchen, which, yeah. So I'll tell you, cloud kitchen. Again, it depends on what
Yes,
sort of Gidwani or Mitesh Rangras, the people
yeah, it is there.
behind the cloud kitchen. I can blindly order from them. But a new cloud kitchen with a person I don't know, I won't order.
Yeah,
They,
yeah.
LiveAt5 foods.
Hmm.
They have Punjab Grill,
Yeah,
Asia Kitchen, etc. Now they're getting a lot on cloud kitchen. They've opened one in Bombay, where two actually, which has the Artful Baker, this bakery, and also another Asian.
hmm.
Now there I would order blindly because I know the brand, I know the people.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So it's the people or the brand, but otherwise you're right. If you don't know the brand, then you're shooting in the dark.
That's a very good example, and I'll give you a parallel. Maybe not a cloud kitchen, but say, especially because they all happen to be in Bandra where I stay.
Yeah,
If it's anything with the impresario group, like Saltwater,
yeah,
Smokehouse, and now Social, and my interaction
yeah,
with them was first through the restaurants, and later because of food writing, I also got to meet Riaz Amani, know him, and I know his passion, his commitment, the focus he will insist on hygiene. So if there's anything from this chain, Saltwater, Smokehouse, Social, this, that, I will not
yeah,
think twice. So
yeah,
if you want to open a cloud kitchen. But the fact of the
yeah,
matter is, I know that the area where I stay, like, close by in Chimbai, I've been told, and places like Madol and all that, I've been told that there've been like lots and lots of places being taken up, and people are making. V. Sangvi's written about it in his article. So I don't think he focused so much on that. But there are all these people who are making these base curries, base and cars. So even yesterday when I ordered the chaat, yesterday evening, I wanted to order from Lashkara, with Punjab Sweets, because we trust them. Once when I was there, Palina Kai picked up, but they were shut at that particular time. Then I looked at the other options, and I thought, no, then let me go to Social because Social has a
yeah. So
that and I used their app for the first time and stuff. So it's okay. Was it the same quality as Guru Kripa Sayan? I don't know. Possibly not. But
yeah,
I know that there's a Guru Kripa Sayan outlet in Bandra. I once passed it by and it's a tiny shop and with tons of people coming. I would rather hold back.
yeah, 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 yeah. So in my view, now let's talk about the future.
Yes.
When you street food, I think future is organization of street vendors with proper hygiene, proper like a hawker markets like Singapore has or Juhu Beach and Chowpatty Beach. When you look at home chefs and what's your opinion on the future?
Before that, I just want to interject, Martin, on the street food bit. See,
Yeah,
and I'm thinking about this for a long time. I've been trying to write about this for a long time,
yeah,
but that's been pending. See, there
Yeah.
are two aspects to street food.
Okay.
But the first aspect is that street food is very affordable food for people on the streets. In fact, in Mumbai, the original restaurant concept, the Khana Bar, was an evolution of the street food. 10 Irani restaurants came and all that. So it is food, literally for food for the man on the street to
Yeah.
fuel that person and go on. Then there are us foodies and this, that, and whatever, who probably today don't need street food to survive, and we can afford a restaurant or a cafe or whatever, but we love food or we romanticize it. We want to put it up on Instagram, this,
Yeah.
that, or whatever. Now, when we and I feel that when most writers write about street food, they tend to think of it from that angle. But what you're forgetting is that street food is subsistence for a lot of people. So, and those people will not go. And I'll give you a clear example. If you look at the price of a pav bhaji in the Juhu Chowpatty versus the pav bhaji at Ashok's, which is a street food stall near Bombay stores at Fort, where you have everyone from office peons to Instagrammers like me taking people on food walks, eating there. The Ashok pav bhaji would be maybe one third the price of the Juhu one and would be 50 times better in terms of quality.
Right.
So what I'm saying is that see those sort of models will happen. There will be restaurants having this thing. But listen, I mean there was the Taj and क्या cafe उसका Seaside Lounge. वहाँ पे भेलपुरी मिलता था, and you get भेलपुरी at this so I don't know. My feeling with street food and what I think we're a bit cocooned in Bombay because I believe that in Bangalore people are writing. Monica Manchanda was writing that the Darshinis, the small coffee shops, have all open. In Delhi, Gurgaon, like people queuing up for charts, is that. If even in Bombay, if you go to the local bazaars, like the fish market, this, that, they're all
Right.
packed.
Yeah.
So, the moment it opens, street food's going to be there. People will go with the masks in the pocket or hanging within the chin, and they're going to go and eat. So I don't know kuch hoga ki nahi hoga. I'm not quite. So, there'll be some cosmetic changes, no doubt, with the stands and all that. But that will not service 95% of the customer of the street food of India. The customer of the street food of India is not on Instagram. Now, coming on to Home Chef, or maybe they are on TikTok. But coming on to Home Chef, so coming on to Home Chef is going to be a bit like it was for me in where it was for food walks. That in the beginning when I started, and I was still trying to figure out my career as a freelance writer. That's something which I used to do. But then, as you get back, you get into your daily rhythm and all that. Then you start seeing that is there value in it for you? Are you able to keep up that effort? This that. So we right now are going at the other end where we're really romanticizing and glorifying home chefs, which we should do. And the poor restaurant guys are feeling maybe a bit bad that we are not talking that much about them. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, it's a business they're running, so it's not that they're saints. But they're okay. It takes a lot of hard work to run a restaurant. So it's okay to be a home chef for a bit of time. But so there will be a few people who will probably continue. Like for example, Hungry Cat Kitchen moved from a pop-up module to setting up this thing. So there'll be a few of them. But or like in Delhi, Bangalore Uta company with the two ladies over there that converted that into a mini restaurant where you order and advance.
Yeah.
But expecting home chefs to completely eclipse restaurants is very
No, they
silly.
won't. No, they won't eclipse. But I'm just wondering where. So
Yeah.
get back to their day job.
Few will probably sort of be picked up by restaurant owners, like how sometimes like freelancers get picked up by ad agencies and they work together and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like for example how Shivala, Kori Malhotra, they work too much with hotels. Maybe you never know. Like for example for Mustard, earlier Preetha, then Arvinda Banerjee, they work with consultants with them. I think what I feel is that, and your LiveAt5 is a very good example of that, that the lockdown will create completely new models that people would not have thought of. Fact of the matter is, Samir, you and I have had at least 6 to 7, if not 10, chats and coffees and lovely places where we plan, ये करते हैं, वो करते हैं, ये करते हैं, ये करते हैं. And both our wives then told us that तुम लोग कुछ गप्पे करते हो, कुछ काम नहीं करते हो. But I think we can both tell our wives that we've done something. We've done it maybe a bit more consistently than I. But if it wasn't for the lockdown, we'd still be having coffees and croissants. And सभी ये करते हैं, कल्याण ये करते हैं, and कुछ नहीं करते.
Agreed. I agree completely. Okay, when you look at restaurants, where do you think they're heading? Do you think a lot of them will shut down?
It's one requires to analyze various things when one's looking at a business, and I don't think I'm equipped to do that, and I don't want to say things which might hurt investor sentiments and all that. My only feeling, my only submission is that I just feel that that the restaurant industry has really mushroomed over the last 4 or 5 years, and it's very different opening restaurants now versus the older ones in terms of retail, staff costs, and all that. And also the people who are opening it now are middle class or upper middle or to upper class, so the aspirations are different from the people who opened the restaurants earlier. So which makes them more expensive. This that. So all restaurants which are opening now are largely part of lifestyle experience. There are very few restaurants which are opening now which are to fill the stomach, right? So I just felt that in the last 2 years, the mushrooming of restaurants, where I think the supply was much more than the demand which was there in a country like ours for the sort of restaurants which are opening. So I'm afraid that there's going to be a bit of a reset on that, because I felt that the bit of, and I am a bit. My thoughts on this is that I'm more food focused. I'm more this thing. So, but I felt that there was a bit of, I don't know, maybe fluff is a harsh word, but there was a bit of too much of bells and whistles coming in. So I think that, and if you see that the restaurants which are talked about now, Gauri Devi Diyal's Iktara, Table, the Bombay Canteen, and some of the many other big ones. I mean, don't come into my name, Yalcha, Akasan, ITC restaurants, all of that. They put food first. I mean, you can be assured that you'll go there and have a good meal. I'm talking about your lot.
Meal,
They might talk about the chef, they might talk about the interior designer, they might talk about the bartender. But how many places, and somebody you've tried many more places than I do because of your work. How many places serve food which make you want to come back? Or make you wish that why did a subject...
You're right, Manohar says only that restaurants close who get into this business not knowing the business.
But that's...
To an extent, yes, but not entirely.
But it's not always under your control.
But it's a whole sea change. I mean, it's so interesting to see. There are, opportunities, lots of opportunities. There are lots of, areas which have shut opportunities and, are going down under, but which is giving rise to new businesses like home chefs coming up, like logistics, delivery. I mean, this is booming, because of the new norms. And maybe 6 months down the line, other businesses boom and others go down. I mean, we don't know how it's going to be, but we are here to eat.
Yes. Eat and talk.
Talk and do the other, enjoy it.
And celebrate food.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yes, absolutely. Kalyan, before we go, would you like to tell everyone anything?
Okay. Watch LiveAt5. No, but on a more serious note, I think that it's great that things are opening up across the country, but and the economy needs that. But it's also that the pandemic is still around us. The virus is around us. There's no cure yet, no vaccine yet. So please don't let your guards down. I mean, maintain all safety precautions, wearing a mask, so just socialize or go out only if you need to. I think things can wait. I think things can wait.
Yeah.
There are people who need to go out and get things started. So I mean, let's hope and pray the best for them. But I think that I think this is a time for a bit of sensibility. I think there's also a time for a bit of kindness and compassion. So if you can give someone a shout out, do that. If you feel like shouting at someone, maybe do that in private and not on social. ठीक है थोड़ा खाना ठंडा आया है even I would get angry but very private message it's I think this is the time to be kind
Yeah, no, agree. But
and if you're worried about how to keep your hair in shape then get in touch with Samir and he's selling these collectible FBI caps these are one so they're very expensive but you can order them keep them on your
yeah, absolutely. Keep your hair in shape irrespective of how disheveled your hair is. But Kalyan, super chatting with you.
I miss this, Samir. I miss this. I'm glad.
I know. Same here. Yeah, it's so much fun and just chilling.
We should do this more often.
Let's do this. Absolutely.
So, see, Samir, you and I are the master of making plans. So that's a very good thing. All secrets are.
But absolutely. Thank you, Aaron.
I want to also thank Shane if he's still there. Shane.
Yeah, we just ignored all the comments, but has still delights.
Yeah, I'm very bad at that, but I when I try to focus on personal speech. But thanks, Food with Shane. Manohar, for all your comments.
Yeah, Manohar, thank you for being with us. You've been there throughout. And hello and everything. And hi, and thank you for being with
Nikhila.
But we are going to have this conversation.
Yeah, chalo. We'll do it once.
Probably Kalyan address specific topics. This is more general.
Yes.
Address specific topics that we can discuss about in a fun way and our experiences, and let's do that.
And Samir, the difference is in the past we've discussed this many times, but there's been no witness. But today let's make it in public. You and I once a week will get together and then hold up the So
super. Bye. Take care. Thank you, Kalyan.
Bye.
Guys, so that was our